Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. If you do enjoy college football content, subscribe here now. We cover a lot of it, and especially the AP Top 25 and the college football playoff rankings. Looking here at what's currently in front of us, this was a big weekend of college football. Let's first kind of visit the others receiving votes. UTSA just on the outside looking in. South Carolina is getting some notoriety after that massive win against Tennessee. More on that game to come. Troy, Boise State, Illinois, all hanging around this realm, followed by Iowa. So all of these teams here are very, very close. A team that nearly fell out but just stays in the AP Top 25 is UCF. They lose a close game against Navy. You know, they definitely had some struggles throughout the course of this game, and were not able to capture the victory there. Next game here, we got Texas, and Texas is another team that had to show out big. They had a massive offensive output against Kansas. Robinson had a humongous day. I think he had like 240 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. This guy was unstoppable on the ground. So really impressive day by him. He was definitely the catalyst behind this offense and really made this team go. Next, we have Coastal Carolina getting the nice victory over Southern Miss. Very, very narrow margin of victory here, but Coastal Carolina, once again, proving to be a tough program. The last couple of seasons, they've been routinely in the AP Top 25, and they continue that once again this year, kind of fostering that 9-1 record. Impressive here out of the Sun Belt Conference. Number 22, Oregon State. Oregon State, once again, a good victory here against Arizona State. They definitely controlled the game throughout. Oregon State, once again, climbing up to number 22. A good victory for them against Arizona State. Now Cincinnati, this was not one of those super exciting games on the road in Temple. However, they did get the job done. Luke Fickell has done a tremendous job with this team once again. Lost a lot of guys to the draft the past season, and they were able to recover nicely. Once again, supporting a 9-2 record, sitting at number 21. And now we're going to look at the next grouping here. We have Ole Miss, Tulane, North Carolina, and then the following team there is UCLA. So there's a lot to break down here. Ole Miss gets embarrassed. They go to Arkansas and struggled mightily. KJ Jefferson has a huge day, for Arkansas. I think that with his efficiency, that definitely kept Ole Miss on their heels. He played good, mistake-free football in that football game. So Ole Miss takes a big L there. They dropped 6 spots. Now, let's remember where Ole Miss was a couple weeks ago before that loss to LSU. They were right up in that top 10. Now they continue to plummet here. Lane Kiffin's got to figure out some things here, before the bowl games. Number 19, we have Tulane. Tulane picks up the massive win against SMU. Tulane is one of those teams that is kind of shocking in my opinion. I did not expect them to come out this hot to start the season, but they are remaining here now in that top 20. This is a team that's starting to gain some traction. Number 18, we got North Carolina pick up, they take the L against Georgia Tech here. Very, very narrow margin of victory for Georgia Tech, but disappointing because they were at home against a Georgia Tech team that they felt they definitely should have beat. North Carolina struggled throughout the course of this game and end up losing. But the bigger game here to talk about is UCLA, because there was no, more pivoting game for, a team like UCLA than this one, because if they could have beat USC while they, UCLA was at home, that was a big turning point. Part of the issue was, you look at the turnovers from DTR. That was a big factor in this game. Him turning over the ball quite a bit definitely hurt them. It was a high-scoring output game. It was exciting and fun to watch. When you looked at what UCLA was throwing at them offensively, it was tough to stop. Lincoln Riley put together a really good game plan overall. Caleb Williams had a massive game. But DTR's turnovers definitely hurt UCLA. They do only drop 1 spot, thankfully, with that loss, but it was something that definitely could have changed the course of the season once again, had they been able to win that game. Number 16, we have Florida State. Jordan Travis, once again, big day for him, not only on the ground, but through the air. Jordan Travis did a nice job controlling the tempo in this game against Louisiana. They've shown some ups and downs here. Mike Norvell's, team has done a great job this year. kind of riding the wave a little bit. Definitely has had some struggles, but at the end of the day, they put it together here and get the victory against Louisiana. Number 15, we got K-State, followed by Utah, Notre Dame. And Notre Dame was impressive in that win against Boston College. They were absolutely stifling defensively. I think when you look at Notre Dame and how they've been able to turn things around after a couple big losses to start the season, they've recovered nicely. This is somewhat reminiscent of Clemson last year for me, in the sheer fact that they dropped a couple of games early and now they're recovering nicely and starting to reclimb in the rankings. Utah takes a loss to Oregon, another pivotal game in that Pac-12 that does not get talked enough about. Bo Nix had a decent game. Looking at K-State here against West Virginia, at West Virginia, 48-31 victory for the Big 12 K-State. And I think when you look at how things are starting to shape out, this Big 12 is an interesting conference that we have to look at. And I was pretty impressed with what I've seen from K-State so far. Deuce Vaughn is obviously the engine behind that offense, but that's a team that continues to scratch and claw their way to victories. Number 12 and 11, we got Washington and Penn State. Now, when you look at Washington, humongous game from them. They absolutely smacked down on Colorado, who Colorado's been struggling mightily this year, but Washington put together a great offensive game plan and absolutely dominated this one from start to finish. They jump up to 12. Number 11, you got James Franklin's Nittany Lions against the Big Ten opponent in Rutgers. Rutgers, coached by Greg Schiano, definitely has had some struggles throughout the course of this season. Defensively, they haven't been able to figure it out. Penn State, really good offensive output here, 55 points, and defensively, they were able to stifle them. Now looking at number 10, we have Oregon. Oregon picks up the narrow win against Utah, another pivotal game in that Pac-12 that definitely could dictate some things down the stretch of the season here. But Oregon, with the good game plan, picks up the win. You look at number 9, Tennessee, they get embarrassed by South Carolina. When you look at Spencer Rattler's day, it was unexplainable of how well he played. Obviously Tennessee's offense has been a big catalyst behind their success so far this season. I mean, granted, this team did put up 38 points, but defensively they could not, stop Spencer Rattler, who absolutely exploded onto the scene. When you look at the 6 touchdown performance, it's not explainable on why this happened against, a competent Tennessee defense. But at the end of the day, this does hurt them now. They drop all the way to 9th. They drop 4 spots. This is pivotal. Number 8, you have Alabama, Austin Peay, 34-0 victory. Not a ton to take away from this game other than the fact that they took care of business here. Some people look at that and say, well, they should have won by more, but at the end of the day, they shut them out and scored 34 points. So, Alabama stays pat here at number 8. Number 7 is Clemson. Clemson had a nice day against Miami. Offensively, they were rolling, controlling the ball on the ground. Clemson overall, I like what I've been able to see here outside the one loss so far this year. They've been winning the games that they're supposed to win, and that's why they're hanging here at number 7. They climbed 2 spots, pretty pivotal there. Number 6 is LSU. They pick up the win against UAB. Jaden Daniels, really good day through the air and on the ground. Impressive there. John Emery, though, however, lost 2 fumbles in this one. Noah Cain ended up taking a lion's share of the carries after that. So Noah Cain might be the guy moving forward, but John Emery's, ball security issues. Malik Neighbors was big in this one as well. He's a guy that's starting to, take on that alpha role in that wide receiver room. So LSU is hanging right in there, just out of reach of that college football playoff. A lot of things have to go the right down the stretch, including games like this where USC, could have lost to UCLA on the road. Definitely was a nerve-wracking game, but once again, Jordan Addison stepped up big time in this one. He was absolutely huge. Caleb Williams had a massive day, and you see why Lincoln Riley has won so much. He does a great job putting together, a good offensive game plan, and he is very good in these shutout games. A lot of times he comes out on the winning end of them, and that is the case here. A lot to love from, what you've seen in that one. Probably the most exciting game of the weekend. Another one that was super exciting was TCU. You saw at the end of the game there when they nearly lost because they ended up running the football. They didn't have timeout, so they had to run out their field goal unit onto the scene to kick the game winner while the clock's running. It was a spectacular event there, but could have been nearly disastrous for TCU had they not been able to get that kickoff and then, essentially lose to Baylor. But they get the job done, on the road in Baylor. Once again, Baylor's a team that won the Big 12 last year, and TCU all of a sudden has burst on the scene as a true college football playoff contender. They're here at 11-0, winning the games that they're supposed to win. A lot of credit to them and their program. Now, top three is going to kind of stay pat here because we do see Michigan at number 3. They pick up the narrow victory against Illinois, and this was a game that J.J. McCarthy had to, really toughen up down the stretch here. Michigan's defense was good all afternoon, but so was Illinois. Illinois did a really good job for the most part containing Blake Corum. Blake Corum definitely went out with an injury for a little while, but at the end of the day, Michigan was able to get the job done at home. I know a lot of Michigan fans were a little nervous here, but at the end of the day, they put up, I think, 9 unanswered in that fourth quarter there and got the victory. So Michigan stays pat here at number 3. That was a close call, though. You definitely would think that in Michigan, it would be very tough for Illinois to win, but they were very close there. Brent Bielema's Illinois team is definitely a tough team to beat. Number 2, we have Ohio State. They pick up the victory against Maryland in not as convincing fashion as people would have thought. However, Marvin Harrison Jr. is he's a beast. He's so much fun to watch. CJ Stroud, this offense is electric. And they dropped 43 points on Maryland on the road. This Ohio State team is the real deal, and I'm so excited to watch Ohio State versus Michigan later on. And then number 1 is Georgia. Georgia, in a close game on the road here, they pick up the 10-point victory against Kentucky, a team that was in that top 10 realm. Then they fall out. Kentucky's been so up and down this year, but they definitely had Georgia's number for a little bit in this one. However, Kentucky's not able to hold on against the juggernaut Georgia Bulldogs. So overall, it stays pat in this top 4. Only one of the top 10 teams, I believe, lost, and that was Tennessee. So overall, a lot of things do stay pat here in this one. So appreciate you stopping by. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Also leave a like on today's video if you did enjoy the content. Had a lot of fun making this. Let me know in the comment section below, did the AP Top 25 get this one right?